Okay, this is Brent from PathandTarot, and we are here back again in the PathandTarot suite of cards, where we're going to use all three of the PathandTarot decks. It's really cool because I spent some time updating the PathandTarot deck, to get a new border design going in there. Tweaked a few things. It's pretty much the same, but it's a little bit. It feels a little bit more refined. So it's like one of those situations where you've gonna, you've let something artistically sit for a while, and you've gone back and you've thought about the things that you can change and just hone a little bit closer. So that's what we have here, and I feel like those changes really allow all three of the decks to connect a little bit better in a more colorful, plain way. To sort of fit in with minimalism a little bit closer. So here we are. It's exciting. So we're going to use all three decks. But we're going to separate them. That's kind of the cool thing. The previous PathandTarot suite had all the cards in one deck, but now we've got three separate decks. So I'm going to be using the tarot deck, and then the playing card and the elements all separately, and then the playing cards and the elements will be in playing card size, so they'll be a little bit smaller, and I think it'll work nicely here in the reading. So we're going to see how that all pans out here. So if you're watching this, wherever you're watching it, whenever you're watching it, you can take a moment here while I talk. I'll talk for a little bit, and you can think, hey, what are the things that I need to uncover? What are the energies that are unknown to me at this moment? Like, what can we find out? It's an open-ended question, and we do that here on PathandTarot to allow you the opportunity to get something from this reading. So we don't have to ask anything specific, although sometimes we do. Don't get me wrong, but I like to do that so that you can get something from this at any time. If you haven't seen it, then it is designed for you. And no matter how many times you ask something open-ended, you get something unique, and you can put it together, and it seems to all work very well. The power of the tarot. Okay, so let's draw a card here. You got the King of Pentacles. That's cool. That's cool. So let's get a playing card out. Ooh, my goodness. My goodness, look at that. We've got, that's quite synchronous. So in the elemental deck, there's only one card that is a sub-element with an element within itself. And so that's the cool thing about court cards in the tarot, is when you start to learn the court cards, you begin to learn about their elemental association and the fact that they are sub-elements. It means that they are elements within the suit's element. So for the King of Pentacles, the King is a fire energy, but Pentacles is an earth energy. So you've got fire inside of earth, and so that's a sub-element. And so the elemental cards are they have sub-elements in them along with just single elements. That's how that deck is made up. So there's only one of those. That's really cool. And we've got the Ace of Spades. Now the Ace of Spades in Cartomancy is it's like the death card in the tarot. So it means like misfortune, end of a cycle. It's the death card. But as we read the cards, we know that these sort of negative meanings are only a part of the grand cycle. So these things change based on how time moves forward, and time always moves forward. That's just how time works. Unless you can stop time. I don't think you can. But you can slow it down a little bit. King of Pentacles. So the King of Pentacles is an engaged energy. It wants to interact. So fire and earth is kind of like a weird mixture, right? Because they don't really empower each other, but they do in certain ways. There's a transformative nature of that energy that wants to engage, right? So the fire wants to, and it is able to transform the earth in interesting ways, right? So just think about a forest fire. I like to use forest fire as an example because it's quite evocative, but just imagine like how transformative that action is. It's also kind of you know, it has a sense of danger to it, right? So the ace is kind of speaking towards that. But in a way, in terms of like the earth and its whole like existence, these are just natural phenomena. They're part of like the natural order of nature. So it transforms the land, it changes it, and it gives the land a chance to grow something different. You know, forest fire has, you know, removes things. So the fire has a chance to engage with the earth. And so what we can get out of this message maybe is that, you know, taking the ace of spades, you know, something is ending at the moment and changing. But the sub-element air and air has energy aimed towards like communication, like the mind, thoughts, action as well, thoughts of action, manifesting your thoughts. So, you know, a cycle is ending at this time. We could even speak towards, you know, it's October right now, so we've ended the summer and we've gone into the fall, and we're going to go into winter. So we've very clearly changed seasons. And today here in Canada, it was one of the first cold days here on the west coast of Canada. It's been quite hot, so today was one of the first days where it was like, ooh, that is pretty nippy. I need to wear pants, not shorts. So the cards kind of see that, at least I think. That's one thing we can draw out of it. But if we got anything, we've got a king, which is a court card, like we've said, and the tarot, when a court card comes up, sort of recognizes the reader, or the person being read for, or the reader itself. In this case, it's just me. It's tarot's way of saying like, hey, like you're involved in this, you know, very specifically. That's kind of what court cards represent. Is there's not only sub elements, they've got you know, two different types of elemental energy, but they represent either the people around you, if many court cards come up, or if many court cards come up, they represent layers of yourself. So you can look at it that way. But because we've only got the one court card here to work with, we can kind of hint at the tarot going like, haha, a person is interacting with me. Yeah, so you know, it's just a way for the tarot to kind of say that, and I think that's a cool thing, because there's not many court cards in a tarot deck. There's only 16. So that's, you know, a very low chance of getting a court card on just one draw. So it's very uncommon in that way. But that's a good message to have as it is. We've seen a synchronicity, I think, or something, maybe not a synchronicity, but we could say something has harmonized, right? Like the elements and the playing cards, they've given us a finer level of detail by showing us a pattern. And so that's something that can happen when you work with more than one deck at the same time. The tarot is a great system on its own, and it's very powerful, but the more decks that you have gives you just a finer resolution that you can get, because you can see these patterns that we've picked out, right? The air energy. And with these PathandTarot decks, right, the whole suite is they're all color coded in a very specific way. So we actually can see the pattern. It's very, very obvious, right? Like the violet and yellow color, it's here in front of us. Like we can't really even ignore it. It's just there. So we've seen patterns, and that's really cool. So patterns mean like we're on the right track, and you know, I hope you are on the right track as well. And I'll see you in the next tarot reading.